You know, in Lagos, there are levels to this thing called big girl energy. There's the girl who dresses well. There's the girl who knows the right places. There's the girl who dates money. And then there's the girl who believes she is untouchable. This is the story of one such woman. Her name, Zara. Zara wasn't just beautiful. No. Beauty is common in Lagos. Walk through Lekki Phase 1 on any Friday evening and you'll see 20 beautiful girls. But Zara had presence. When she walked into Rhapsody's lounge in Victoria Island, conversations paused. Not because people wanted to stare, but because they couldn't help it. Her skin glowed like she bathed in gold. Her body, sculpted by the finest personal trainers in Ikoyi. Her hair was always freshly done, Brazilian, Peruvian, whatever was trending that month. And her outfits, designer. Always. Hermes, Chanel, Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton. She didn't just wear them, she performed in them. Her car was a white Range Rover Sport, custom interior, tinted windows. Her apartment was a penthouse in Banana Island, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Lagos Lagoon, marble floors, a walk-in closet the size of most people's bedrooms. Zara had money, but more than that, she had confidence. The kind of confidence that made men forget their names. The kind that made women clutch their husbands a little tighter when she walked past. And Zara, she enjoyed that. She had a philosophy, you see. She would tell her friends over cocktails at Shima Lounge, laughing loudly, swirling her champagne. Listen, if a man can be taken, he was never truly kept. Marriage is just paper. Love? Love is whoever makes him feel alive. And me? She would smile, slow and deliberate. I make them feel very alive. Her friends would laugh nervously. Some admired her, others envied her. A few secretly feared her. Because Zara didn't just date men, she collected them, especially the married ones. There was Tunde, a banker. His wife found out after Zara posted a picture on Instagram in his shirt, tagged at his favorite restaurant. The wife called her, begging, crying. Zara blocked her mid-sentence. There was Emeka, a politician's son. She went to his family house in Ikoyi for dinner once, just to prove she could. His wife served her food with shaking hands. Zara complimented the jollof and left with him that same night. There was Chidi, an oil executive. His wife confronted her at a party. Zara stood there, arms crossed, and said calmly, "If your husband wanted to be home, he would be. Don't blame me because you are boring." The wife slapped her. Zara smiled, touched her cheek, and walked away. 2 weeks later, she posted pictures in Dubai with Chidi. You see, Zara believed in one thing: power. And in Lagos, power wasn't just money. It was presence. It was control. It was making people feel small while you stood tall. She believed she was untouchable. She believed karma was something poor people invented to feel better about their failures. She said it once at her birthday party in a private villa in Lekki Phase 1, surrounded by bottles of Moet and Ace of Spades. Karma, please. Karma is for people who don't have lawyers, connections, and options. I have all three. Everyone laughed. But one person didn't. A woman in the corner, quiet, elegant, watching. Zara didn't notice her, but she should have. His name was Kunle. Zara met him at an art gallery opening in Victoria Island. One of those events where the wine is free, the art is overpriced, and everyone pretends to understand abstract expressionism. She wasn't looking for anyone that night. She was just there, being seen, as usual. And then she saw him. Tall, dark-skinned, clean-cut beard, wearing a simple black shirt and tailored trousers. No flashy watch, no gold chains, just put together, quiet confidence. He was standing in front of a painting, hands in his pockets, actually looking at it. Zara was intrigued. She walked over slowly, heels clicking on the marble floor, stood beside him, close enough to be noticed. "What do you see?" she asked, her voice smooth. He glanced at her, smiled.
Not the usual hungry smile she was used to, just polite. Honestly, I see someone who was paid too much for too little effort. She laughed, a real laugh. Finally, someone honest. Kunle, he said, extending his hand. Zara. They shook. His hand was warm, firm. He didn't hold on too long, didn't stare too hard, just present. And that was the first hook. They talked for an hour. He was different. He didn't ask for her Instagram, didn't mention her looks, didn't try to impress her with his car or his house. He talked about ideas, books, travel, philosophy. He was interesting. When she finally asked what he did, he smiled. I run a consulting firm, help businesses optimize operations. Boring stuff, really. Doesn't sound boring, she said, leaning in. Everything sounds exciting when you're talking to the right person. Smooth, but not slimy. Thoughtful, not scripted. She wanted him, but he didn't ask for her number. He gave his. If you ever want to continue this conversation, he said, call me. And then he walked away. Zara stood there stunned. Men didn't walk away from her. She called him the next day. They started seeing each other, slowly, carefully. Dinner at Knock by Alara, drinks at Quillox, late night drives along Admiralty Road. Conversations that lasted until 3 a.m. Kunle was different. He listened. He challenged her. He didn't worship her like the others. He treated her like an equal, like someone worth knowing, not just worth having. For the first time in years, Zara felt something she hadn't felt before. She felt seen, not as a trophy, not as a conquest, but as a person. And slowly, dangerously, she began to fall. It was 6 weeks in when she finally asked. They were in his car, parked by the lagoon, windows down, the Lagos night air thick and warm. Are you married? He paused, looked at her, then nodded. Yes. She didn't flinch. She'd heard that word before, many times. Does she know about me? No. Will you tell her? He smiled, sad, distant. Would it matter? Zara leaned back in her seat, thought about it, then said the words she'd said 100 times before. No, it wouldn't. But this time, something was different. This time, she wasn't just taking, she was wanting. This time, she wasn't in control. She started imagining things she'd never imagined before. A future, a life, waking up next to him, traveling with him, building something. She, Zara, the woman who mocked marriage, who laughed at love, was falling. And she didn't even realize the trap she was walking in. Months passed. Zara and Kunle became inseparable. At least that's what she thought. He was careful, never posted her, never introduced her to friends, kept things private. She told herself it was because he was protecting her, protecting them. She didn't notice the pattern. She didn't notice that he always chose the places, always controlled the timing, always kept her just close enough to stay hooked, but never close enough to see the full picture. She didn't notice because she was happy. For the first time, Zara felt like she was enough. Not her body, not her money, not her image, just her. But happiness makes you blind. One evening, she was at her favorite boutique in Victoria Island. The sales girl, Ngozi, was unusually cold. Is everything okay? Zara asked, holding up a dress. Ngozi smiled, tight, fake. Of course, ma. But Zara noticed. She always noticed. Later that week at Shima Lounge, two of her friends were distant, distracted. They kept exchanging glances. What? Zara demanded. Nothing, babe, one of them said quickly. Too quickly. Zara narrowed her eyes. If there's something to say it. Silence. Then finally, people are talking. About? About you and someone. Zara laughed. People always talk, let them. But something shifted in the air. Something she couldn't name. Then came the party. An exclusive rooftop event in Ikoyi. Zara arrived in full form. Gold dress, heels that could kill, confidence radiating. But when she walked in, something was wrong. The usual attention wasn't there. People looked, but they didn't approach. Conversations quieted when she passed, but not in admiration, in something else. She saw Kunle across the room. He was talking to someone, a woman. Elegant, quiet, simple black dress, natural hair, no makeup, just graceful. Zara walked over. Kunle saw her. His face didn't change. Zara, he said smoothly, this is my wife, Adana. The world stopped. Zara looked at the woman. The woman looked back. No anger, no tears, no drama, just calm. Adana smiled, small, polite. Nice to finally meet you, she said softly. Then she turned back to her husband. I'll be by the bar. And she walked away. Zara stood there frozen, heart pounding, mind racing. You brought me here? She hissed at Kunle. You wanted to meet her, didn't you? He said calmly. Now you have. This isn't funny. I'm not laughing. And for the first time, Zara saw it. The coldness in his eyes, the distance. He wasn't hers. He had never been. The unraveling was slow, painful, surgical. It started with the whispers, at the gym, at brunch spots, at parties. People stopped inviting her, stopped responding, stopped caring. Her Instagram posts, once flooded with likes and comments, now felt empty, hollow. She called Kunle. He didn't answer. She texted. No reply. Days turned into weeks. She drove to his office. Security stopped her at the gate. Madam, you are not on the list. Call him. Tell him Zara is here. They called, came back. He said he is unavailable. Unavailable. The word burned. Then came the photos. Someone sent them to her. Anonymous number. Screenshots from a private chat. Messages between Kunle and another woman. But not just any woman. It was a setup. The whole thing. Kunle wasn't falling for her. He was playing her. Every date, every conversation, every moment she thought was real. It was calculated, planned. By him and by her. Adana. Zara finally understood. Adana had never been the victim. She was the architect. She had watched Zara for years, watched her destroy marriages, watched her humiliate women, watched her walk around Lagos like she was God's gift to the earth. And Adana had waited, quietly, patiently. She had sent Kuli not to love Zara, but to trap her, to make her fall, to make her vulnerable, to make her feel something real, and then take it away, to show her what it felt like. The final blow came at another party, one Zara wasn't invited to, but she went anyway. She walked in, head high, trying to reclaim her power. And there they were, Kunle and Adana, together, laughing, his arm around her waist, her head on his shoulder, happy. Adana saw her. Their eyes met, and Adana smiled. Not cruel, not mocking, just knowing. Zara turned and left. Her hands were shaking, her vision blurred. For the first time in her life, Zara felt small. Weeks passed. Zara stopped going out, stopped posting, stopped pretending. Her friends stopped calling. The men stopped texting. The invitations stopped coming. Lagos had moved on, and she was no longer the queen. She was just another girl who thought she was untouchable. One afternoon, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. It was a voice note. She hesitated, then played it. Adana's voice, soft, calm. Zara, I don't hate you. I never did. But I needed you to understand something. You believed you were powerful because you could take. But real power is knowing when to let go. You thought marriage was just paper. But love, real love, is built on something deeper than desire. You humiliated women because you could. But you forgot that silent people aren't weak. They're just waiting. A pause. I didn't destroy you, Zara. You destroyed yourself. I just held up the mirror. I hope you find peace. But more than that, I hope you find humility. The message ended. Zara sat there, silent, tears streaming down her face. Not from anger, not from shame, but from something deeper. Understanding. She thought about all the women she had hurt, all the homes she had disrupted, all the tears she had caused. And for the first time, she felt it. Regret.